in the first round?
Yeah, no, we've heard conversations about late lottery
Okay.
in that range. We've also heard 18 to 20, 15 to 20, but we've certainly had some teams that have been had really healthy conversations that are in that late lottery conversation.
And that's all guaranteed money, so at that point you have to go.
It is. Well, I think there can be an argument for both things, but I think the late lottery conversations have been one that I think his agent and his family have looked at. Obviously, first round is guaranteed. It's really now, Clay, going to about the top 40 picks get guaranteed money, around that. In some cases, 45 picks. There's more guaranteed money in the early second rounds than there ever have been. But the consensus for him has been, anywhere, in that 8 to 20 range.
But as you said, it gives you something out there on the recruiting trail, 5 guys in 5 years on rosters.
Yeah, no, that's certainly something we have talked about with recruits, because that's not an easy thing to do. And obviously we've talked about the development of some guys in our program, whether it's Dwayne for 3 years or EJ continuing to progress and moving up in his own draft stock, which has been really important and really fun to see. And then the success of a Jay Sean and a Akeda. So it's really important for us to be able to sell that there's different avenues in which we've helped guys get to the NBA. The development piece has been there, recruiting a high level young man like him, and seeing his development and being a one and done. So it's really been a wide range of guys now, of those 5 guys. What wide range of ways of getting there.
What's the push-pull for you, like, as a head coach, to not want to see him go because you want a superstar like that on your roster for next year, but also understanding that he's, got to make his own decision?
Yeah, what's best for the young man. Ultimately, that's why we're doing this. There is a real, obviously we understand the hit that losing a player of this caliber in some ways does to our roster. That's reality. And you don't plan for it. I in our minds, we planned on him coming back as certainly leading the charge as a sophomore, but he progressed in a phenomenal way, and I'm thrilled for it. So there is a bittersweet element of it, but it's much more sweet than bitter.
To have that decision already made now, and you guys have a little bit of time now to try to reconstruct the roster the way you need it, is that a little bit of an advantage for you guys compared to, not that Dwayne made like a bad decision by waiting as long as he did, but you guys didn't have really an idea about Dwayne until late in the process?
Yeah, I think for him though, we felt it was trending in this direction for a while now. So I don't know that we had a definitive answer until yesterday. But we knew it was trending in this direction, so it allowed us to plan accordingly in terms of who we were recruiting.
You mentioned the recruiting impact of something like this, but I'm curious about, there's 5 guys coming in that are going to be freshmen, just like Malaki was, and I'm curious, what do you want them to learn from something like this? What Malaki is going through now?
Yeah. One thing about Malaki is he just focused on getting better.
Yeah. And
I think your journey, your path is your own, and that's what he focused on. His journey, his path was his own. He did not compare his path to anybody else's. He didn't come in saying he was going to be the next one and done. As a matter of fact, you'd be surprised if you knew the amount of minutes that he projected that he would play as a freshman coming in. It speaks to his humility as a player, and also his self-awareness. And I think that's part of what makes Malaki really special.
So for a guy like Bruce or Bryce or like these guys coming in, does this change your approach about what a freshman can do in this program, or again, is it just kind of every other path, like every freshman has their own path type thing?
Yeah, not really. I think every player is unique, and I think in recruiting you obviously have to take account for who you could be projected to lose from one year to the next. But no, I don't think it changes anything in terms of how we evaluate and recruit. Every guy's path is different, and I think it's key for each guy to keep that in mind. They got to run their own race.
Sorry if you've been asked this already, but when you're going through a season and you're planning on, like you said, maybe 2 years, hopefully with Malaki, when that becomes a reality, that's not going to happen. what is the challenge like as a coaching staff of adjusting to that mid-season and realizing we might not be able to recruit a replacement for next season? Like, what are those challenges of realizing mid-season he ain't gonna be back?
Yeah, you immediately a player of his caliber leaving maybe a year earlier than you thought. You know, let's be honest, it completely changes the complexion of your roster.
Yeah.
So you you really have to make plans. And I do think in a day where the transfer portal has changed things with immediate eligibility, perhaps it gives you a chance to step in and back when this was the case before, the immediate eligibility was not in place. So I think that maybe helps us a little bit. But we've been recruiting with the idea really for a couple months that it was likely that we were going to lose Malaki ever since his run mid-year.
And I was going back to the beginning of the season, thinking about how you guys are playing Akron here. You got timeout in 3.5 seconds, and you drew up a play where he had to make the right read.
Yes.
Should that have told us in hindsight where this was headed? That like in an absolutely do or die moment for you guys in the season opener, you put the ball in the hands of the freshman and said, "Go do it." Go.
No, I think it should have said something about our belief in his maturity and decision making. That's probably I had no expectation at that time that Malaki was going to be a one and done.
Okay.
Now we knew he was going to be. We said in the summer, hey, he's going to be in the NBA sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
We did not anticipate this kind of trajectory mid-year.
I know last year you talked about the fact that when you found out Dwayne wasn't coming back, that kind of put you guys in a scramble to find somebody to replace him. Finding out about this now, does that kind of help when you're trying to find a final roster spot here?
Yeah, we've been planning for a little bit that this was likely the case. We have. I just think, again, his trajectory made us begin to contemplate the idea that we were going to have to find the replacement. And we also have a couple good young guards coming in that we knew they're going to be forced into action maybe a little bit more, a little bit earlier than even they anticipated. And we're excited about putting those guys in those positions. You got Bruce and Roddy, who are both young guards. They're going to be expected to play a little more now. And obviously we went to the transfer portal as well. So we've been making the plans for a couple months along these lines.
You're going to get really young here.
Yeah.
You got a really old team this year. You're going to get really young. Are you pulling your hair out already?
Well, ask me in a couple months. Ask me in a couple months. There's excitement that goes with that. You got a young group that hopefully if we can grow together and stay together, that we'll have a real chance. But ask me in a couple of months how I feel. I'm sure there'll be those moments.
Chris, the offensive jump was very apparent. It was jumped off the page. But did you see Malaki take a lot of steps that you needed to see defensively to not really say like, okay, yes, you are ready, but to say, hey, I think that you're ready for the NBA. You've shown enough defensively that you can play the NBA.
I think that strength and continued growth defensively is going to be the things that I think NBA is going to focus on the most. His shot making is elite. I mean, it's elite. He's got the ability to go get a shot on his own. His length and touch around the rim are phenomenal. Jake Diebler did a great job with him, helping improve his ball skills. But the strength and defense are areas that I think the NBA is going to say, okay, at 18, we got to speed you up pretty quickly in this.
You mentioned the scoring in the last 22 games and how it jumped so significantly, 17 points. How hard is it for a freshman to make that kind of a leap mid-season? I know in the COVID break kind of gave you two halves this season in a way, but to go from a guy who you have high expectations for, he's doing some things, to then a guy that is scoring 17 a game and you're leaning on, how hard is it to make that leap mid-season?
Yeah, I think you have to have great maturity and great the ability to be able to respond to difficult moments. Not every kid can do that at 18.
Yeah.
He's got a good support group around him where he didn't make excuses. He wasn't blaming coaches. He wasn't blaming the people around him. He just went to work. And not every kid is willing to do that. And I don't think he saw necessarily, hey, I'm going to go from 6 points to 17 points. All he saw was the daily work, putting in the daily work, staying with it, So I just think, unfortunately that maturity doesn't come right away for every kid. He had it. He has it. He's got a great support group around him that didn't blame anybody else. And I think that contributed to his growth. There's no question. And his ascension.
And when he starts to stack games like that, like he did there in January and February, where he's playing at such a high level, you can see guys that can have a breakout game. You see guys that maybe put it together for a little stretch, but once he starts stacking it on top of a game, on top of a game, on top of a game, did you see that change anything in him, the way that he played or the way that he approached the game?
Confidence.
Yep.
Yeah, confidence. His confidence changed once you saw him do it over time, over and over. His confidence really grew as the season went on. Really grew.
Just other topics. I don't know where you're hiring and firing and all that. Firing's not a good word.
Yeah, I didn't fire anybody.
You didn't fire anybody,
Should I fire somebody, Steve? Is there something you don't know about?
No. Hiring. You brought on Coach Owens from Miami. Were you already starting to see he's making some impact and some inroads and everything?
Yep. Sorry about that. Yep. Love Coach. Yeah, I think he's going to be a really good addition. We'll get him in front of you guys here sooner rather than later. He's going to be a really good addition, and there'll be an announcement probably this week on the additional kind of how we've added to our staff along with Jack. We're going to put something out here in the next couple of days, but I'm thrilled with Jack Owens. I really am. I think he's going to be, he was associate head coach at Purdue for 6 years. He was an assistant there for a total of 9 years. He knows the Midwest really well. He knows what wins in this league. He's been a head coach. He had a good run at Miami. I'm thrilled having him. I've heard nothing but great things about him, and it's been validated by his time here so far.
Did you cross paths a lot with him? Like, how familiar were you with him?
Not great. Yeah, he was somebody. I kind of made the decision that it doesn't have to be somebody I know well, but it has to be somebody that I know well, knows well.
Okay.
If I'm going to make this hire, and there were a couple people I know really well who either work with him or had a great relationship with him.
You guys did make Tanner Holden official. I think you guys can maybe talk about him, I suppose. What attracted you to him? I mean, obviously he had some games that the entire country were watching. Bryant game, I think, in the first four. And just some different things he did that were very impressive. Just what maybe attracted you guys to him?
Yeah, no, I think as much as anything, his ability to get to the free throw line, to attack the paint, I think his perimeter skills are good. I think he's going to be more of a high volume 3-point shooter here than maybe what he was. That's going to be an aspect of his game he's going to have to continue to grow. But he's just a really effective, good player. He's versatile in a lot of ways, and obviously being an Ohio kid, we love that. I'm really excited about Tanner. I think he's really going to help our team.
We talked to Kalen out in Indianapolis, Griffin and I did, and he mentioned your freshmen are not coming in late June like you've done the last couple of years. They're coming in June 5th, is it, for the start of the real summer semester? What?
Some of
you want to get them in, huh?
Yeah, we want to get them here as quickly as they want to get here. Some of that is just when the their graduation dates fell. But they're anxious to get here, and we can't wait to get them here. I mean, it's obviously going to be a lot of new faces, Steve, as you know. But I think our fans are going to really love getting. They've already gotten to know those 5 recruits, but I think they're going to really enjoy what they see.
Do you have a feel for how you plan to use Jack as an assistant, like as far as divvying up coaching responsibilities, things like that?
Yeah, ask me that here in probably a month or so. A couple months. I do. I want to wait to kind of put that out there, but I've got a pretty good feel between the staff we have assembled, how we're going to divvy up those responsibilities.
It seems like at Purdue, he handled some really good guards. I know he also recruited Biggie Swanigan.
He did.
So he's kind of worked at both ends of the court.
He has. He's worked with Biggie, recruited Carson Edwards. Yep. So he's recruited both and worked with both guards and bigs. And he has worked with bigs at previous spots as well. So I could see him doing both for sure.
And as far as you being a young team, you also have 2 rather older players on the roster next year, Seth and Justice. And how important has it been in this offseason adding players like that, or retaining players like that, rather, to balance out some of the new faces you're going to have?
Yeah, I think we're going to need that. I think we're going to need great leadership from our veteran guys, given what we lost with the leadership of Kyle and EJ and Justin and so many guys. So it's going to be really important, but that's going to be evolving. I think we're going to have to figure out who that's going to be and what that's going to look like here this summer.
You talked in March about just the importance of getting Greg Oden a job. I'm just curious what your thoughts are just on him getting hired there at Butler. And
that was really important I think for us this year to help him find a place somewhere because he really wants to. He's been a GA here for a number of years, and he may be in some type of GA capacity there. I'm not sure, but it was really important, I think, for him to be able to branch out and grow his network.
I'm curious, just Malaki away from the court, how would you describe his personality just as a human?
He's phenomenal. He's certainly one of the best kids I've ever coached. He's phenomenal. Anybody else?